Another thing that's great about an event like this is when we have the opportunity to get a keynote speaker in. So I'm honored to be able to introduce Dan Monternock. Dan was raised on a family farm in Jones County, Iowa, where he first learned the value of hard work and safety in the workplace. After graduating from Iowa State University, where he majored in journalism and ag economics, he served as an executive at 4 of the nation's top agribusiness consulting firms over the next 40 years. He presently continues to serve as a senior economist for Roche Ag Marketing Limited, a leading commodity advisory firm which serves farms nationwide. Dan has addressed hundreds of audiences in both the United States and abroad. A highlight of his career was being named Communicator of the Year by the National Agri-Marketing Association. Congratulations, Dan.
Thank you.
Over a year ago, Dan launched Perfect Fit Presentations Limited, where he specializes in customized research projects and presentations geared to clients' specified topics, focus, and actual insight for decision making. As I said earlier, I'm honored to welcome Dan. Everybody give it up for Dan.
Thank you very much. Well, it is a pleasure and an honor to address this group. I am a country boy, and a lot of you may already know this, but the occupation of farming is actually the second most dangerous occupation in the country. Second only to working on high-rise construction projects. So, Mary Beth, your remarks just fit right into that. But I've had personal experience with tragedy growing up. I had a high school classmate who lost an arm in a farm accident. I had another one who lost a leg in a farm accident. My brother was able to purchase a neighboring farm because that farmer died in his 40s in a tragic farm accident. And I came close to becoming a grease spot myself in a farming accident, if not for my Uncle Pete. It was harvest, and my Uncle Pete was unloading ear corn from a wagon where the hoist was raised, pulling the corn into an elevator which would take it up into the corn crib. And he noticed little 4-year-old Danny sitting on the front tire of that wagon with a load of corn suspended and held in suspension only by a single hydraulic hose. My Uncle Pete stopped what he was doing, went around the corner, lifted me off that, I don't remember this is how he described it, lifted me off that tire, gave me a little swat on the butt and said, "Danny, you stay away from here. This is too dangerous." And before that load was finished unloading, the hydraulic hose popped and that wagon came crashing down where I was sitting just minutes earlier. So it gave me a real keen sense of the importance of safety very, very early in my life. Now, we understand this is a very serious topic, and one of the things that Mary Beth mentioned is that an awful lot of accidents are caused by distraction or just a temporary loss of concentration and frankly carelessness. And I don't mean to diminish how serious the topic is, but I want to talk about something called the Darwin Awards. How many of you have ever heard of these awards? They salute the improvement of the human genome by honoring those who accidentally removed themselves from it. Now, these are a series of cartoons, but these were based on true stories. Those two blokes engaged in their version of Russian roulette, where they would hold lit firecrackers in their mouth to see who would keep it in their mouth the closest to it going off. Well, the one who lost, his jaw dropped to the floor, you might say, literally, and he bled to death on the way to the hospital. Now, there's a diver, obviously a deep sea diver, with kind of a deer in the headlights look. What's the story behind that? He was in a salvage operation with a camera with a light, feeding images to the people in the boat up on top. And he needed to preserve some the audio feed to the boat, so he shut off the alarm for his air supply and the time that he had been down. Well, the people on the boat heard his last words just fine. "I can't breathe." Another one. What's this fellow up to? This is a true story about a fellow who decided he was going to get lighting for his lawn storage building by illegally tapping into a utility company junction box in the backyard. Only he did it during a thunderstorm. And he gave lighting a sparkler a whole new meaning. Then there's this fellow. It's a cartoon, but it's based on a true story. Now, we've all seen the famous photo of the guy who's sawing off the limb that he's sitting on. This guy isn't quite doing that. He perched himself on the trunk. What had happened is that was a willow tree where they had a terrible windstorm. And the wind blew so hard that it bent that tree over and it got caught under the eave of his house. So he crawled up on the trunk and began, I'll fix this. Sawed it off. Problem was, it was a willow tree, which is very springy. And when he sawed the branch off, it catapulted him into the neighbor's patio. And the fellow stopped the fall with his head. I don't mean to make light of this, but what I'm talking about is to underscore the reality that a lot of terrible accidents happen because of thoughtlessness. And the obligation that you have as safety officers, you know, they always say you can't fix stupid. Well, unfortunately, you folks are responsible for protecting people from thoughtlessness. Here's the national